This video is brought to you by Spigen. Today, we're looking at the first 25 things that you should do if you've just got your brand new Samsung Galaxy S24. Now, these tips and tricks are going to help you unlock this phone's full potential and get the most out of its features, battery life, as well as performance. Alright, so first let's take a look at customizing the lock screen. There's a few really cool things I want to show you. So to do this, we're going to jump into the settings app and then scroll to where we find the wallpaper and style menu. And then we're going to tap on the lock screen here. And in here, we can customize the individual elements of your lock screen. So for example, if we tap on the clock, we can change this to show your calendar or for example, a digital clock. I always like the look of an analog clock. There's just something kind of old school about it. And you can also change the size here by adjusting it on the four corners. And beneath that, we can also now add widgets right to the lock screen. And widgets are great to get information at a glance. So for example, I currently have a weather widget for the temperature, as well as the percentage chance for rain. I can add one more, let's say under battery. I can add the battery status of not just my S24, but also any connected devices I may have. So for example, my Galaxy Watch here. So really useful to get this right on the lock screen. Now, my one piece of advice though, when dealing with widgets on the lock screen is less is more. And this is because while widgets are really useful, they are constantly running in the background and thus do consume battery. Now, I have many battery tips coming up in this video, but the first really is to use widgets sparingly and only use widgets that you really get use out of. So again, for me, it's the temperature and the percentage chance for rain. And beneath that, we can also adjust how your notifications are shown. So currently it will show just the icon. I think this gives a really clean look, but you can also have it show the full notifications, or if you want a decluttered lock screen, you can show none as well. And then we can also add some contact information. I've got my name. And then lastly, we have the option to change the toggles. This will be shortcuts to various apps. I have mine set to my calculator and the camera. As standard, you will have a shortcut here for your torch, but I've actually assigned this to the side button. As you can see, double clicking that will activate the torch for me, and I'll show you how to set this up later as well. So I've set mine to the calculator. And once you're happy with your lock screen, simply tap done on the top right, and this will then be saved. And then from the lock screen, let's jump right into the home screen. And the first thing we can do here is pinch out to see all of our current pages. And if you want to add a new page, simply click on the plus sign here. Then we can scroll back to our first page and then say we want to move an app over. Simply tap and then hold and then drag that app over to the right, in this case, moving it to the next page. And then to remove an application, simply press and hold on that app and then tap on remove. And now bear in mind, this won't actually remove the application from your phone, but rather just the shortcut on your home screen. Let's talk about widgets. Widgets, like on the lock screen, on the home screen, are super useful. So to add a new widget, we're going to just pinch out here and then tap on widgets. And let's say I want to add one here for my calendar. There we go, calendar. And we're going to pick this medium size one here and then tap add. And great, here we have a widget right on the home screen. And like before with an application, you can then press and hold to drag it across different pages. Now, what is really cool is to create a widget stack. And creating a widget stack allows you to essentially have multiple widgets in one space. It'll take up much less space. So let me show you how this is done. So let's say on this new blank page we created, I'm going to add a new widget. So let's say reminders. Reminders is always a useful way to keep track of my to-do list. So let's go ahead and add that. And as you can see, these two widgets, my calendar and reminders, are the same size. So what I can now do is tap and hold on that reminders widget and then drag it over the calendar widget. And as you can see, we have now created a stack where I can cycle between these two widgets. And to edit this, we can tap and hold on the stack and then tap on edit stack. And here we can add more widgets. I believe you can have up to 5. And you can also turn on or off the auto rotate function, which is going to show you whichever widget you use most at a given time. So for example, let's say in the morning, I prefer to show my calendar. And then in the evening, I prefer to look at my reminders to kind of tick them off as I go. It will then show you the reminder, or rather the widget that you use most at that time of the day. One of the questions I got on one of my previous S24 videos was how I save an app pair on the home screen, as I think running multiple apps at once is one of the best things I love to do on Android and really miss doing on my iPhone. You can see here I have an example of me running YouTube as well as a Chrome window, and there's a way to save an instance of two apps right on the lock screen, on the home screen rather. So let's go ahead and create a new pair. To do this, we're going to open up one app. So let's say I have my voice memos app, and then via the Edge panel, we're going to drag in a second app. And if you don't know how to set up your Edge panel, we'll look at that too. But let's say I want to combine this with my calculator. We're going to drag that in, and then we go in and either add that to the top half or the lower half of the screen. Let's add it to the top here. Actually, would have made more sense to have it the other way around, but this is just a demonstration. And what we're going to do then is tap the three-dot menu in the middle, and this will also allow us to quickly swap them around. This seems to make more sense. And what we can do then is tap on the little star icon, and then we're going to do add app pair to the home screen. And as you can see, if we go home, we're now going to have a new icon, and this will be that app pair. So anytime I tap that, those two applications are going to open in the exact same format as we had them before. Now, you probably remember at the start of the video, I briefly showed you that I use my side button to activate the torch, and let me now show you how to customize yours, as it's really a lot of additional functions that you can add with the side button, and in my opinion, make it much more useful. So to do this, we're going to jump into settings and then scroll to where we find advanced features with this little yellow icon here. And then here we can tap on the side button. Now, first you want to enable a double press, as this will give you an additional layer of functionality to the side button. And I believe by default, it will be set to quick launch to camera, which is useful, but you can also have it set to system functions or any app really, and that is if you select this third option and then tap on the settings icon, and here you can jump into pretty much any application like the calculator, your calendar, or the torch, which is what I have set. I find it super useful to have a hardware button. Say I'm just about to head out the door and I'm looking for something in my bag and it's dark, super useful to have a physical switch to quickly activate the torch. Now you can also modify what a press and hold will do. Now, by default, this will be set to open up Bixby. Bixby is great for certain things, but for many things, I find it not to be super effective. So I prefer to have the plain old power menu, making it easier to quickly turn off my phone, restart it, or use emergency calls should that ever be needed. Kind of on the subject of buttons, let's take a look at customizing the system toggles that we have here in the top right of the display. And this is a great way to quickly change core system functions from whatever app you're in, whether it be the home screen or any other application that you are running. And there's a lot of functionality here, but I think it's important to customize this to really get what you want out of it. So to do this, we're going to go into this little pencil icon here, and this will allow us to modify the system toggles in two sections, either the top row or the full menu. So let's start off with the full menu here. And the top half is going to show you what toggles, or buttons rather, you currently have in your system toggles menu, and then beneath that we're going to have the ones that you can add. So let's say I want to add Wi-Fi calling. I can go ahead and tap that, and as you can see, that will now be added, and you can also drag and kind of move them around. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that by tapping the little minus icon. You see it will then reappear here. My suggestion here would be to arrange these in a way so that your most used buttons are going to be on the first page and along the top, as these will be most visible. So for example, I like to have the torch again to change your phone silent mode, and also wireless power share. This is one that's not here by default, but this lets you use your S24 to wirelessly charge other accessories like your Galaxy Buds or even other things like your another phone, for example. Really great, and I highly recommend you add that. And again, I have mine close to the top here for easy access. And once we're done, we're going to go ahead and tap done, and then go and edit the top menu. So this will give you the most accessible, easy to access system toggles, or buttons rather, and I highly recommend, for example, having some connectivity ones like your Wi-Fi, your mute toggle, airplane mode. Really, the ones you find yourself using most are the ones I suggest keeping here in the top row. And then we're going to go ahead and press done once you're happy with that. One additional setting in here that I recommend you check is your brightness control. You're going to want to make sure that this was set to show always, as this way, I'll show you what this does. When I scroll down to get the system toggles, it will automatically give me, or immediately give me rather, the control for the brightness, as opposed to having to first swipe down as was previously required to see this menu. One of the features I'm really glad Samsung brought from the Ultra series to the regular S24 is one-handed mode, and this is super useful even on a admittedly smaller phone like this. I still find that when I'm running down a busy road, I got my coffee in one hand, my phone in the other, trying to respond to a message, it can still be difficult to reach that top right or top left corner of the display. Using one-handed mode is a much easier way to do so. So first, let me show you how to activate this feature. For this, we're going to go into settings, and we're going to scroll back down to where we find advanced features, and here we will find one-handed mode right here, and you're going to want to make sure that that toggle is turned on. And then to activate one-handed mode, you're going to do a simple gesture swipe down right along the bottom of your page here. There we go. And as you can see, the screen pretty much shrinks by what looks like 50% or so, making it much smaller and thus easier to access those top corners or even the other side of your screen. Say you're typing a message, want to access the other end of that keyboard. Super useful. I have mine set to the left here because I'm left-handed, but if you want it to the right, simply tap the arrow. It will then move over to the right, and then we can also adjust the height here via this bar up at the top. So a great way, again, to access your phone from one hand. Really glad Samsung brought this also to the regular S24. And then to exit out of one-handed mode, simply repeat the same gesture, scroll down like that, a little swipe down, and then you're back to normal. Now, in addition to the software tips that we look at today, I do also have one essential hardware tip, and that is to protect your Galaxy S24. And this is where Spigen comes in. Now, I've been using Spigen products for years. I think they offer good value as well as quality, and this is why I recommend them. For this occasion, they've sent out this special box, so let's open it up and see what we get inside. And inside, we have the 01 cases for the S24, along with some unique items like this Rubik's Cube here. Never seen one like this before, but these items are meant to encourage you to relax and zone out with 01 as opposed to being glued to your screen all day. I'm sure we all use our phones too much. I'm really kind of liking this fidget spinner already. Who needs a phone? Am I right? Anyway, back to the cases. I really enjoy using the 01 line, not just because it shows a detailed schematic of your phone for a unique design, but also because this case now comes with the one-tap metal ring inside, which adds MagSafe functionality to your Galaxy phone. Speaking of cases that have MagSafe functionality, this is the Slim Armor MagFit Metal Slate, which adds slim protection, and I really like this distinctive design as well as the grip that this case adds, and of course the built-in kickstand for both portrait as well as landscape mode viewing. Then to protect the display of your S24, be sure to add the Glass TR EaseFit 9H hardness tempered glass screen protector, and I especially like that it comes with this super handy installation frame for a stress-free application. Your Galaxy Watch 2 can benefit from Spigen protection with the Liquid Air case, which adds full coverage for shock protection to keep your watch looking new. To protect your Galaxy devices with Spigen, be sure to head to the links in the description. Okay, so one of the best parts of the S24 is the admittedly great display. I think this is truly a best-in-class display, and for the price, it's hard to beat. I don't think any other phone really beats it. Excellent display here from Samsung, but we can make it even better by optimizing it with certain settings. So to do this, we're going to jump first into the settings menu, and then we're going to scroll to where we find display. And here first, we can change the display appearance. We can go between light and dark mode. Now, I think both modes have their place. For example, during the day, I like to use light mode, but at night, there is something to be said for dark mode as it's just not as bright, so it's less straining on the eyes if you're using your phone late at night in bed. And because it uses a lot of pixels that are off or black, it will actually conserve just a little bit of power too. So my suggestion is to actually use both light and dark mode. And you can do this by tapping on dark mode settings, and then we're going to set it to a custom schedule. So I have mine set to a custom time schedule where from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. my phone will automatically be in dark mode, and during the day it will automatically be in light mode. This works in the background. You can even have it set according to the position of the sun, but I like it to run on a specific time schedule. And then beneath that, we also have the option to adjust the frame rate of the display. So if we tap into motion smoothness, we can either have this set to adaptive, which is going to vary the refresh rate from 1 to 120 Hz, or we can lock it to 60 Hz. Now, there used to be an argument made for 60 Hz as it used to be the more power efficient way. However, now that the display's refresh rate on the S24 is variable, again, between 1 to 120 Hz, depending on what you're doing, the adaptive refresh rate is actually just about the same in terms of power consumption, but gives you a much smoother and better experience. So make sure that your refresh rate is set to adaptive to get that smooth 120 Hz when you are swiping through things, you're playing a game, watching videos, but then when you're reading a static page of text, it will switch to the lower refresh rate to conserve power. Here we also have Eye Comfort Shield. Now I'm going to turn this on to show you what this does, and as you can see, it kind of adds an orangish hue to the display, and essentially what this does is it's going to limit the amount of blue light that's going to be coming from the display. Now for some people, blue light can interfere with your sleep quality, it can even cause headaches, so turning this on is going to limit that from happening, and it's generally something I like to have on. The only instance where I don't recommend you use this is when you're editing photos or say videos, as of course this does slightly alter the color output and therefore color accuracy of your display. So in those instances, turn it off, but otherwise it's nice to have on. And then if we scroll down here, we have the navigation bar. Now this one is a little bit controversial. I know some people love the classic Android button layout, which you can see here with the back button and then the home button. Personally though, I love the gestures. I find it to be much more natural way to use your phone. Quickly swipe to go home, press and hold to open your recent applications. And you can also swipe along the button here to switch between apps. I find it super useful, and again, more intuitive. It takes up no screen space, so you can use really all of your screen. But if you do prefer the button layout, you can change that here. But again, my suggestion would be to go with the swipe gestures. Now I want to go back to the Edge panel, as the Edge panel is a super handy way to access applications or open a new application from anywhere within your phone that is always accessible by this very subtle little bar that you'll find on the edge of the screen. But like much on this phone, it can be heavily customized to really get the most out of it. So let's take a look here. To do this, we're going to go into settings, tap on display once again, and then we're going to scroll to where we find Edge panel. And first you're going to want to make sure that this is on, and then we can tap into it to customize this further. So first you can choose between a different type of panel. There's a bunch of presets to choose from. The contacts one might be useful. Personally, I like to have the apps, and we can actually tap edit to customize this further. So we can go ahead and drag in a new app. Let's say I want Amazon in there, tap that. You can even change the width to add even more. I like to have it a little bit slimmer, a little bit more minimalistic. By the way, these top 3 are going to be your most recent used applications. So these will change as you go. And then on the bottom half here, you can pin specific apps that you always want to be there. Now you can also customize the panel itself. So if we go back, tap on the handle, we can adjust first the position. That's with these 2 little arrows. You can adjust it to be higher or lower. Now my suggestion is to position it just above the midpoint of your display, as I like to swipe to the left to scroll back, and I don't want to accidentally trigger the Edge panel. So if I have it just above that, I won't accidentally open it, but still within reach to easily access. And of course, I have mine positioned on the left as I'm left-handed. You can change the position to the right if you are right-handed. You can then also change the color. You can change the opacity. I like mine in white. I want it to be a little bit low-key. I know it's there. I don't need it to disrupt my content, but having it there always is just super convenient to access and pull up applications no matter where you are in your phone. One of the biggest battery saving tips we're going to look at today is saving battery with notifications. Now, the number of notifications you have coming into your phone has a huge impact, not just on your battery, but also on your mental health. So let me show you how to narrow this down. So first we're going to go into the settings app here, and then we're going to scroll to where we find notifications, and then tap on app notifications. And in here, you'll find a list of all of your applications, and you can turn on or off notifications that you don't need. So my advice is to turn off any application that doesn't need to disrupt you in the moment. So for example, shopping applications, certain games, utility apps, right? These things, they can send me notifications, but I don't want it to be on my lock screen, buzzing my phone and sort of taking me out of whatever I'm doing at a given moment. So I only allow things like certain messaging apps, finance apps, or maybe a maps application if I'm on my way to somewhere. But otherwise, turning them off is really, really great. If you can decrease the number of notifications you have coming into your phone from say 100 to 50 per day, or even 60 to 30 per day, it's going to have a significant impact on your battery, as every time a notification comes in, your screen will turn on, your vibration motor will activate, and your speaker will probably be used to play a sound, and that takes up a lot of battery if you add it up. Plus, again, all those disruptions throughout the day, it's not great for your mental health either. So limiting notifications, great for battery and great for your mental health, and this is where you do that. Let's talk about battery health. After all, the better the battery health, the better your battery life for longer. And one of the great ways to extend your battery health is with a feature called battery protection. And to activate this, we're going to go into settings, scroll all the way down to where we find device care, and then tap on the battery icon, and here turn on battery protection. And once this is on, we can tap into it, and here there's a few layers of battery protection that you can choose from. Now maximum is really for the true diehard battery health savers out there, and what this is essentially going to do is limit your battery capacity up to 80%, so you won't be able to use the top 20%, and this is going to go a long way to preserving, or extending rather, your battery health. Now for me personally, this is not worth it. I do want to have full access to my battery. I don't want to be limited by losing 20%. So instead, I choose to use adaptive. And this kind of gives you the best of both. It will still give you some battery protection, but you will still get access to the full battery capacity. And what this essentially does is it's going to adapt how it charges your phone based on your charge habits. So let's say you plug in your phone at night at 10 p.m. It's then first going to charge up to 80%, and then closer to when you typically wake up and unplug your phone at say 7 a.m. only then is it going to charge the remaining 20%. And essentially staggering the charge is going to produce less heat and thus limit the wear on your battery over the long run. So this is really, I think, the sweet spot between having no protection and then losing some battery capacity is the adaptive mode here. This is what I recommend you select too. Another great way to preserve your battery health is to choose how you charge your phone, more specifically, what kind of chargers you use. So for example, a lower watt or slower charger, say a 10-watt charger, for example, is going to be significantly better for your battery health than a fast charger, like a 25-watt or even a 50-watt charger. And that is because a slower, lower watt charger is going to produce significantly less heat. And heat is one of the biggest factors, or one of the biggest contributors rather, to degrading battery health. So a lower watt charger is better. And to take it one step further, I recommend using a wired connection as opposed to wireless charging. And again, that's for the exact same reason. Wireless charging produces a lot more heat as opposed to a wired connection. So especially overnight when you don't need to charge fast, I would say use a lower watt charger with a wired connection. And then during the day, if you do ever need a quick top up, don't worry about never using a fast charger. It's just about the majority of the time. Again, when you're using your, or when you're charging your phone every night, best to make the habit of using a lower watt charger with a wired connection, and this will go a long way to preserving your battery health. Awesome. So now let's take a look at optimizing and improving the sound and vibration settings on your S24. So here we're going to jump into settings and then find the sound and vibration menu, tap on that. And then we're going to scroll to the vibration intensity option. And what is cool here is you can actually change the intensity of the vibration depending on what's coming into your phone. Now, I like to have my phone on silent always pretty much. So all my notifications will come in through vibrations. And over time, you can adjust it so that you kind of can feel almost what comes into your phone or the nature of the notification before even having to pull out your phone and check it. So for example, if I get a call or a notification like a message or something, it's going to be on full intensity, where if it's a system notification or something to do with my media, it's going to be much lower. And over time, you can actually sort of adjust, and you'll be able to recognize based on the intensity of the vibration, what is coming into your phone. So super handy way to sort of roughly get an idea of what's come in before you even have to take out your phone and check. So my suggestion, keep the important things at maximum intensity so you don't miss them, and other things, keep them lower so you know they're not as important. And then if we go back, we can also change some sound options here. And that is if we go into sound quality, you're going to want to turn on Dolby Atmos. Now, Dolby Atmos essentially gives you access to a broader range of frequencies and better sound quality. Now, not all media that you listen to will have Dolby Atmos enabled, but a lot of streaming services online, as well as music streaming services, will have this. And without enabling this option, you won't get that better sound quality. So definitely make sure that you turn this on. Now, another thing that you can do is set an EQ that will be applied system wide. So let's say you listen to a specific type of music, you can actually adjust that here. You can even create a custom EQ if you want the bass a little bit higher, or say the highs to be a bit sharper or lower, or the mids. If you listen to podcasts, for example, you can adjust that here and set that system wide, and that will then apply to all the media coming through your phone. Okay, so we've looked at a lot of settings and features and ways to sort of optimize your phone. Now I want to go over a few of the AI specific features for the S24, as there's a lot here to uncover, and I think some of these are really useful, and I just want to demonstrate them and show you how to access them and be able to start using them day to day. So first is AI Wallpaper. So to access this, we're going to pinch out on the home screen and then tap on Wallpaper and Style. Then tap on Change Wallpapers, and if we scroll down, we have the Creative section, and we're going to tap on Generative, and this will allow us to create a wallpaper entirely with AI. So it'll be completely unique based on the prompts you give it. And here are a few examples of previous wallpapers. Let's go ahead and create a new one now. So if I tap on Imaginary, I can go ahead and create, or rather fill the gaps here in this prompt. So a surreal lamp, let's change it to, let's say a bicycle, a flowers, sure, and we can change the color scheme to let's say green and teal, and we'll go ahead and click generate. This will only take a couple of seconds here, and it's going to create a wallpaper based on those prompts. In fact, it actually gives you a few options, and as you can see, we can scroll through them and see if there's one that we like, and if there is, we can go ahead and tap set. Really unique way to set up your phone. It's fun to kind of play around. I think it's quite cool. I think most of the examples are actually really quite good, and it's a way to have a unique wallpaper that no one else has. Next, I want to show you Circle to Search, and this is a really useful feature, but before I can show you, you're going to want to make sure that this is activated. So to do this, we're going to go into Settings, and then scroll to, and then tap on Display, go into Navigation Bar, and then we're going to tap and make sure that Circle to Search is activated. Now with this feature, I can essentially identify any object on screen. So in my gallery here, I have a candle, and what I can do is press and hold on the navigation bar. You'll see this new overlay appears on screen, and I can circle any object within my screen, and it's then instantly going to identify it, show me the product, even show me a purchase link to purchase this product. Really useful. I find this to be really accurate as well. So you can imagine, for example, if say there is an item in a video or an ingredient ingredient in a supermarket or anything like that, simply identify it, or like this candle, for example, and you'll instantly get more information about the product. And I find it to work really well. And again, this works anywhere within your screen. Even on my home screen, I can go ahead and press it, circle an application, and it will give me more info about that app. Samsung have also added AI to the Notes app. So if we tap on this note here, you can see I have a paragraph of text. This is from a video of mine. I can go ahead and tap on that and then tap on this little 3-star menu. This is Samsung's intelligence button, and this will give us a range of options, including summarize. So we can go ahead and then summarize the text into 3 bullet points, making it super easy to quickly get the main points. You can see it's chosen the numbers-driven points as well as conclusions that I draw in particular here about the color. We can go ahead and copy those bullet points and then also replace it with the current text or add it to the current text. And then what we can also do, so we go back to the same menu, we can also tap on auto format. Now this is really cool, is it's going to allow us to make this plain block of text much more presentable and easy to read, where as you can see, it has literally created a title, created bullet points, and also subheadings for each bullet point. And again, I think it does a surprisingly good job here. Now, also you have the option to replace it with your existing text or add it to your existing text. My suggestion is to add it rather than replace it. I always like to have the original too. But to make this much more easy to read and again, easy to share with someone, I think this is a really handy feature that is built right into your Notes app. Another good example of AI on the S24 is within the voice recorder app. So what you can do is tap on any recording, and here normally you would have a transcribe button. Now I've already transcribed this recording. It takes just a couple of minutes, and as you can see, it will give a full text breakdown, turning that audio file into a text file that you can then read after. Not only that, it will also break down who says what and identify the number of speakers within a recording. So here I've got a conversation between me and my wife. You can see exactly who contributed what throughout this recording. Super useful. Imagine if you're taking meeting notes in a boardroom or in a lecture or something like that. Really great to go back to. The system is not perfect though. You can see with names, it's not great. Certain words, it does mess up, but it still gives you a general idea. And again, you can also tap on summary and it will sort of summarize the entire conversation. A great way to quickly get meeting notes. AI can also be used for photo editing. So for example, here I have a selfie. We can tap on the pencil icon and tap again here on that 3-star menu. And what we can do is rotate that photo to make it more aligned. And it's going to use generative fill to fill these empty corners where there is no photo taken, but it's actually going to create content there to fill it. So let's take a look at the result. And there we go. So as you can see, it's now filled the image. We can compare it to the original. There's the original, and I'm now much better aligned in the second photo. And you can see that it's essentially created content in all 4 corners. It's done a decent job with these two. These 2 corners here are a little bit left, especially that top left one, top right one there. But you can literally do it again, and it will give you a different result. As again, it's differently generated each time you do it. Generally, I find this to work reasonably well. I think especially for an instance like this, it is really quite handy to have. And then even cooler than that, we can also remove and move or change the size of specific objects within a photo. So here I have a picture of 2 cable cards. Tap in the same menu here, and let me go ahead and select the second one here. It's then going to identify that cable card here, and what I can do is press and hold and then resize it, so I can literally make it larger. I can also move it, say I want to move it to a different line, or I can remove it entirely. We'll tap on the erase icon, then tap generate, and let's take a look at the results. And there we go, like it was never there. This here is an excellent example of the remove feature here using AI. You can see it almost looks like it was never there. I like how it intelligently also kept the line as that was also selected as part of the cable car, but I think it's recognized that this line should still continue nonetheless. So done a great job here. I can see this feature being useful not just for creativity, but also say if you have a crowd of people or a person in the background of your photo that you want to remove, or say a subject like a trash can or something. And this is a very easy way to select it and then remove it right from your phone. Now I want to show you how to run a very thorough device checkup right on your phone. This is great if, say, your phone is ever not really functioning the way it should, or if, say, you've just bought a new phone or rather bought one used. You can run a full device diagnostics and checkup to make sure everything is running the way it should. So to do this, we're going to scroll into your app drawer here and then search for the Members app. So this will be an application that is pre-installed on your device. First time you open it, you'll probably have to log in. And then once we go ahead and launch the app, we'll tap on support, and then we're going to tap on phone diagnostics, and here we can go ahead and test all the parameters of your phone. So it goes very in depth. You can see it tests all 24 main sections of your phone, or parts of your phone rather, all the way from the torch to the speakers to the accelerometer, even your battery status. And this will take around 10 minutes to do, and it does involve, you have to kind of be part of it, where, for example, it's going to play a noise through the ear speaker. It's going to ask you to hear that noise and then confirm that you've heard the noise, to confirm everything is functioning. So it takes a little while, but I think it's definitely worth doing every once in a while, or rather, especially if your phone is ever acting a little bit strange or something isn't working the way it should. Or again, like I said, if you're buying a phone used, you want to make sure that it's fully functional, and running this in-depth diagnostics right on your device is an excellent way to know that you're buying a good phone. And that's it. I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.